Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and anyone else who's watching, maybe there's some people from another planet watching, wondering what we're doing on this round Earth, where it's flat around. Not quite sure. A lot of people have got different ideas. Aliens may be watching us and saying, "What are you doing with all those minerals down there on your planet?" And that might be a very interesting question, because they can see the sign behind us that's gold and silver, lots of minerals in the ground. That's one part of our business. The other part of our business is cryptocurrency, which you can't touch. So that's a digital currency. And we have the owner of the company, Bill Rowell, on tonight, who's going to talk about hopefully some other interesting, very exciting opportunities within our business, apart from mining and apart from gold and silver. There are more strings to the bow than you've got at the Sydney Symphony Orchestra here at Swiss Gold Global. There's opportunities abounding, and we'd like to talk about some of those tonight if we can. So it's a very good evening, and we've got a massive audience tonight, a very, very big audience tonight, because people are getting excited about 2018, the opportunities. Bitcoin is slowly on the rise, very, very slowly. It did tip $9,000 yesterday. It's up to 8,928 at the moment, just hovering there. We just need that to break through. That means our payments are coming through on a regular basis. We do have a reporting issue with Genesis Mining. I haven't had a report for 7 days in my back office, but I have been paid in my Bitcoin wallet here in Australia through CoinJar. I get an email from CoinJar every day, and that gives me my payments. So I'm receiving payments every day, which is good. Just say hello in the chat, folks. There's a few people. Just say g'day in the chat so that we all know. G'day, Tomo, Paul's there, Doug, Connie, and Jarno. How are you going? There's a lot of people watching, which is fantastic. So I'm getting paid every day. I hope you guys are as well. There's been a reduced threshold to pay out. Now, an email came out yesterday, the day before yesterday, from Bill and the company, explaining about the reporting issue, explaining about the reduced payouts. For Bitcoin, it's 0035 instead it was 005 before. So that's all good news. So I'll just quickly go to Paul Weeks on the Gold Coast. Now, we haven't heard from you for a little while, Paul, because you've had internet problems. Funny enough, we're on the online space, and you've had internet problems. But you got yourself. You come up here, and we had a coffee, and we cleared all the rubbish out of your computer. You had a lot of rubbish there, mate. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of megabytes worth of stored data, which is slowing you down. So you're all good to go, mate, are you?
Yeah, thanks for that. It's all cleared out, and it's up and running, and I probably had a lot of stuff left over from the Commonwealth Games. I had so many videos there, so many gold medals that Australia won. So I just copied every one of them. So that was all in my computer, watching it every night. Just like Swiss Gold Global, like it's a gold medal company, and we were doing gold on the Commonwealth Games here for Australia.
Just on what's happening in Australia, I know you spoke to me earlier about some developments in the banking industry here in Australia. Maybe Bill will be interested to hear about that, because it has a little bit of relevance to what we're going to talk to Bill about in a minute. But what's been happening in the banking system here in Australia, Paul, the news that you've got?
Well, the CEO of AMP, he resigned today because they found out that the AMP weren't doing the right thing, and they're going through every bank, and I'm not going to name all the banks because they're all getting hit right from the top to the bottom, and also the government's being hit too, because they were asked to put on an inquiry into the banks many, many years ago, and they just kept saying no, 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 no. It's like 27 times they said no, until such time as they came on board. And now what do we find? And now the government's saying, well, we had that all in place, but unfortunately the the big brother didn't do the right thing. So in hindsight, this is a good thing that we've got the Royal Commission going. But an interesting thing today that we saw on an organisation called Startup Smart, Start Company, 10 Australian blockchain companies raising millions and disrupting industries, which is pretty exciting stuff. So there's all this going on in Australia within the blockchain industry, which is fantastic. And I think Bill's going to relay a little bit more about what's happening in the blockchain world in Dubai.
Yeah, it is. It's a very interesting situation. I caught a bit of the news. I don't watch the news very often. And what Paul was saying is that the banks have been caught out, and some of these financial institutions who parade themselves as banks have been caught out charging their customers for services that they never actually did. So customers receiving fees over multiple years, 10 or 15 years, were being charged for a particular service that they never did. And I caught on the ABC, which is the Australian Broadcasting Commission, our national channel, there was the Government Inquirer, and there's a banker up there, a really sheepish-looking banker who was asked by the Senate panel, can you clear up a little item for us that these particular services that you were charging your customers for, your clients for many, many years, they actually didn't exist. Could you give me an answer on that? And the answer was, yes, we were, and there wasn't any services. So there's lots of stuff that's been happening to everybody in every country for many, many years through the banking system. And that's why there's so much interest in the blockchain technology that's going to change, enhance, speed up, make more efficient, and really help businesses to be smarter, faster, and save money so that they can help their customers, which is us at the end of the day. We all need services from different people, whether it be our smartphones, it'll be all different sorts of blockchain technology to help these smartphone providers and the telecommunication providers. It'll be all sorts of blockchain technology to help all this. This is everyday stuff that we use, the computers that were on, the networks there. What else? There's also, I'm wearing glasses, eyesight technology, all this type of stuff. There's just unlimited what new technology can help us live our lives more efficiently and fast. And it's with a great pleasure that I bring on Bill Rowell, who's back home after running up about 45,000 frequent flyer points. I don't know where you've been, Bill, but you've been all over the place, and you're back in Zurich, I take it. Is that right?
Hi, Keithy. Hi, Paul. Great to be back on the call. Sorry I couldn't be on last week's because of the bad internet connection that I actually had. I'm back in Zurich. It's great to be here. I'm only here for another 10 days and I'm back to Dubai, of course, but lots of things. Great to see the research in the banks. I mean, I get pounded daily, banks questioning me about our practices. We run a very tight ship here and we actually provide a product and service, etc. And here they are charging clients around the world. This is really, it's such, I mean, I meet many people when I fly around the world, including bankers, of course, and you speak about cryptocurrency and they give you that sly look, oh, you're in money laundering or you're this or you're laundering the mob's money. And I remind them, if you look at, you know, Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan has received something like $30 billion in fines in the last 10 years for money laundering. And then you have HSBC that laundered the drug cartel's money. They even changed the tellers, the teller window, so it could take the briefcase of $1 million or so many millions of dollars or through. They could get out of their vehicles, take the cash straight in through push a bag through and move on. I mean, by design. And here they have the audacity to you know, I mean, really, the banks really operate as a bit of a police force to the government institutions. But unfortunately, the banks have no, I mean, generally the corner bank, you know, that services the local businesses, they do the right thing. They serve the people well, they serve the companies well. You couldn't operate without them. But on a much higher level, it's there's a lot of stuff going on. So it's great to see that they're researching it there, because I can tell you right now, you know, a day does not go past. That's why I had to go to an urgent call before, and I'm expecting maybe I've got one coming back in. the banks questioning where the money, where certain money are coming from certain countries. And this is the great thing about the blockchain. It's permissionless. If Keith is in Australia, Paul's in Australia, and I want to send the money to Dubai, they want to send the money to Switzerland, your money is, do the transfer. Who are they to tell you that you can't send $100 or $50 or $10,000 or $100,000 to us? I have people sending small amounts and larger amounts from certain continents of Africa, or maybe even, Pakistan or India, to be involved in our company, small amounts. And the bank will question me, where's this from? Is it this, is it that? I mean, really, I could really give them an Australian handshake sometimes, if you know what I mean, how they actually deal with it. But these are the things we have to deal with international banking transfers on a daily basis. It takes up a lot of time, unfortunately, but it's very, very important. That's why we're so actually we have to be so strong on KYC to meet the anti-money laundering regulations, which is actually quite important. But I just came back from Dubai, getting away from the banking side now. As you can see, it irritates me a little bit, but you can't live without them. And I must say, there's a good side to it as well. I mean, they provide a great service. But getting back to the blockchain, what I like about that, of course, it's transparent. No one owns it in one sense. It's not an institution, and it's permissionless. And it's transparent, and that's a great thing about it. So I was at the blockchain event last week. Actually, at a number of events last week in Dubai. The first event, which I'll touch on briefly, was the AIM Awards, which was the Ministry of Economy in Dubai. I've got to take this call. I'm going to have to come back. I'm really sorry. This is one that's important.
Okay, Bill. Yeah, go for it, mate.
Speaking.
Yeah, just mute your microphone, or I'll mute you.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm back. What I'm going to do is, while Bill's speaking there, I'll mute him so we don't hear the conversation with the bank, that's pretty awesome, Paul. That he's been chased by the banks to talk about his business. Obviously, we're creating ways within that traditional banking industry, and it was interesting that, just touching briefly back on the Royal Commission, which you talked about before, that a number of Australian senators in the government here are very, very pro-Bitcoin and pro-blockchain technology. So there is a certain amount of movement in the younger fraternity of the politicians that they understand that this new technology can help and change things for everyday Australians to make their lives better, more efficient and helpful. Did any of the articles you've seen with Paul touch on the blockchain from the senators? I know they were talking about money laundering and not so much that, but the government's cracking down on the banks because they were, not providing services and charging customers. Have you seen anything of late? I know you mentioned a couple of weeks ago about senators really, really keen on the blockchain technology. Have you seen anything of late there with the senators down in Canberra?
No, I think they're all just sitting on their, just watching what's happening all day about the Royal Commission. The thing we did see a couple of weeks ago on News Bitcoin was about a couple of politicians in Queensland that were heavily involved in Bitcoin. But no, there's nothing in the local papers or the financial press around regarding senators either wanting or not wanting to get involved with cryptocurrency.
Now, just on where you live on the Gold Coast, the Commonwealth Games was just on for 11 days, finished last Sunday. Not this Sunday, the previous Sunday before that. Did you see any promotion of Bitcoin on the Gold Coast specifically because of the games? Did that sort of get a bit of a heightened awareness?
There was about 3 very heavily involved restaurants on the Gold Coast. which were using Bitcoin.
Sorry about that, Paul and Keithy.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, you're right, Bill. Yeah. Yeah, but all I can say about that was that the Jamaicans, one of the particular restaurants down here had they were busy every time, and they were using Bitcoin across the table. So a lot of people, I went in there a couple of times and used my CoinJar card and bought chicken and other things, and a couple of the Jamaican beers that they have around, and it was a real hub. So yeah, Bitcoin was used quite a lot through that particular restaurant.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, I know the adoption is, there's varying cloudy figures around about how many people actually involved in Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, whether it's 20 million or 30 million people or 35 or 40 million people. And as Bill said on many occasions, it's early adoption. It's only in the early starting stages. The government's coming in and putting all sorts of talk about what should be happening, because they see it as an emerging technology. They see it starting to get a foothold. They see people interested because of exactly what Bill was starting to talk about before. So early adoption is what we're already into it now. Everyone watching now and us here now, we're heavily involved already. But there's hundreds of millions of people who aren't, and that's very, very exciting, because once they gain that knowledge, they'll get excited about it too. So we'll just throw back to you, Bill. Obviously, the banks didn't want you to go down and sign your house away or anything like that. But yeah, go ahead, carry on with your technology. What were you doing in Dubai?
Well, it was the bank, and I won't tell you what was going on, but boy, anyway. Okay, Dubai. Okay, we were invited to the AIM Awards, which is the Ministry of Economy Awards in Dubai. That was the first event we were there, and actually we were there with a proposal ICO that we're actually doing, as many of you may be aware, that we're proposing to do. It's well in development, of course, but we want to make sure that it's a nice, rock solid one. It's also going to have a benefit to our members and, of course, to society. And we're also there with that fellow Australian, Philip Judge, who's been a banker for 30 years, bullion banker, been living in many parts of the world, but he was there. I'll be back there with him again in another week's time or 10 days' time. He was there with his fully regulated, 100% allocated gold fund, which is fantastic. Because most funds, of course, aren't 100% allocated; they're actually leveraged. Whereas this one's 100% allocated. So, and it's also stored outside the banking system, fully audited by one of the big accountancy firms. You know that it's the real deal, and the products and the gold is actually there as well. So we're doing a concept with them. We still have a lot to do. That's probably about all I can say at this time on that. We did get some coin type things initiated just for marketing, but I'm not going to really show you the name too much. I'll move it around so you can't get it, but you get the idea of what we're doing. So we're going to have a couple of tokens. One will be backed 100% by gold, which is backed up by this regulated precious metal fund, fully audited, which is fantastic for our members. So therefore, you know that the service you're getting is actually and getting charged for is actually there in one sense. The other token will be, which we're involving, is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be an asset-backed token, more of a security type token. And without going into too much of a scenario, the white paper, and again, I'm not going to move it around too much, but you can see we've done quite a bit of work on that. And at the moment, it's in the process of being audited. We need a third party. We want to have a third party who's going to audit this, and we're going to have assets associated with this particular token. And of course, as the assets generate income will go back into buy further assets, which will add value to the particular token or coin in one respect, which of course will add value. So in one sense, it's going to be very exciting for our members to be able to have access to this, because it's another source of income for you. It's another asset that you'll be getting engaged in that we'll be adding to our portfolio of gold, silver, cryptocurrency. Now, of course, this, which is going to be backed by an asset. So because we're doing it a little bit differently than, I mean, if we had floated this last year, it probably could have gone bam, because you could have sold a fly in the wall last year and raised a lot of money towards your project. But as we were at this blockchain event last week, which was the other event I went to, huge event, just an entry ticket just for the public was $1,000. To give you an idea, so it was $1,000 just to get your head through the door. But with that said, it filtered out a lot of the noise. A lot of the people there were the real deal people, of course, and is very, very interesting. But they also spoke that most ICOs out there, 95% plus, are probably just noise. Just a bit like the dot-com boom, where they were selling tech stocks that had nothing behind it other than a balloon full of cash. And everything's fine when the market's trending strong, but when the markets change, of course, and correct itself, you're left with just air, nothing else, and of course you lose your money. And this is what actually happens. So we are certainly aware of this, and this is why it's taking a bit longer than what we'd like. But when we do bring something to market, we want to make sure that it's going to be something that's going to be solid, has going to be a benefit to society, and of course it's going to be financially rewarding to our members. So this is the really important thing for us. So it's still going to take a bit more time, but this is a priority for our development as we speak right now.
Yeah, well, that's unbelievable outline you've given us, Bill, with waving stuff so we can't actually make out what it is. But to recap, and there's a lot of people watching, and they're Karen, g'day Karen, and Paul's actually just put a question up there. But any sort of outline on when you're talking about 2 coins, Bill? You're talking about 2 tokens / 2 coins.
Yes, well, in one sense, let's just speak about the first one. I mean, we're already transacting in grams of gold and silver for our members, correct? The difference would be is that this would be an Ethereum-style token, which would be just transacted on the blockchain. Right. So it's nothing really different than what we're doing now, except it's going to take it to the next level. It'll be on a public ledger, transacted in a token form on the blockchain, but also backed by a fully audited regulated fund, which means that people can have confidence that what we show in their back office is actually there. That's really important, of course. We don't want to get to a situation where all members want to sell their gold and silver, and all of a sudden we're like a bank, and they have to close the doors because it's fractionalized banking, and the gold and silver's not there. That's what happens in the fractionalized world, of course. And that's what most COMEX and different ETFs, if everyone that had a contract to own gold or silver exercise that contract, that obligation to take it, there wouldn't be sufficient gold or silver there to actually to honor that. I think there's about 50 claims per gram available. So it's way out of balance. So it's really important that we actually do this very correctly and make sure that this has always been our philosophy for the last 10 years. We may have been a bit slower on the marketing and this and that and not so aggressive, but what we want to do right, and we want to have longevity and sustainability with it, of course. So we're talking about wealth preservation token in one sense through the form of a gold-backed token, silver-backed token concept. The other token is going to be different. And let me just say, it'll be an income-producing token that'll gain in value, but not just through, let's say, internet hype. It'll have real assets associated with different technologies associated with it. In fact, some of the technologies, when we get closer, they'll speak about that because I think that's pretty important. That once that comes out, it's going to be a nice story for people to be able to sell. Because we're coming back into the stage of gold and silver again. Gold and silver had a beautiful run from the end of the 90s, early 2000, right up to 2011. The market's sort of been sideways. US dollar was strong for a period of time, therefore gold softened off. But the fundamentals in the world have not changed. The world financially is very, very fragile when it comes to the monetary and financial system. We just saw the International Monetary Fund put out an article, report about the US, its debt levels, and saying that if they continue where they are by 2025, I think it was, it could be just like a third world country in that sense. I mean, this is what debt does. And this is from the IMF. Actually, the Federal Reserve also made it, which is a private institution which issues the money for the US, of course. So they have major problems there. And this may be why we're seeing a lot of the geopolitical upheavals right now, trade wars and different things, because people are trying to fight to save their economies, save their position in this global economy. So it's really interesting as we speak. But whenever you have this geopolitical uncertainty, gold is always a safe haven, has always been. And I'm not saying that people should sell the houses and put it into gold. What I'm just saying is gold is a safe haven, has been for thousands of years, and having a few percentage points of your cash holdings in gold is probably a smart thing to do. It's very liquid, it's secure, and it's wealth preservation. You don't lose value over time through inflation. So that's primarily been our principle from the very beginning, of course. And on the other side, we have the Bitcoin mining in contracts. This is absolutely great because it gives you a nice return, doesn't it? I mean, even though, we saw Bitcoin, as I think you touched on earlier, Keithy, that Bitcoin touched over 9,000 again. We even see the estimated returns cross back over the 50 to 60% estimated returns on your contracts right now. I mean, that's a fantastic return. Fantastic return. And, again, I always, what's the benchmark to compare it to? Well, compare putting $1,000 or putting $35 into 1 terahash contract, whatever it is, for a Bitcoin, compared to putting that into a term deposit locked in for 10 years. Take out fees, even at 3%, you'll have to wait 25 years to get break even on your money at 3%. Yeah. At 1%, like it is here in Europe and the US, in fact, I think some banks here charge you if you put money in the bank. You're going to wait 100 years to break even on your money. So, for diversification, and I'm not saying that you should put all your money into crypto mining. That would also be a foolish thing to do. You have to manage your risk. But I remember, and you probably remember it very well too, Paul and Keith, I remember, at the end of the 80s, early 90s in Australia, where, inflation was around about, I know the overdraft rate was about 21.5%. I know a housing loan, I think, was about 16 or 17%. And I know that but the interesting thing about it was if you were a retiree back then, you would have got about 13 to 14% return on your money. So if you were cashed up back then, just imagine that getting 12, 13, 14% return on your money. It would have been a beautiful time to be in retirement if you were cashed up, because it would have just been great income on the side. But we also saw that a lot of private institutions, credit unions came up too. I can't remember the name of the credit union. I think it was from Geelong or somewhere like that, or maybe it was I think it was from Geelong. But people took their money out of banks, and just to squeeze out an extra percentage or 0.5% or 0.25 percentage point of interest, they did that, of course. And then this particular credit co-op or something it went under. Of course, people lost their life savings, which is a real tragedy. And that's why it's very, very important to balance whatever you do, is to have balance in that, to manage your risk. Don't put all your eggs into the one basket of things. And that's why it's very important when you look at cryptocurrency. It is high risk. It's highly rewarding. It also has high risk associated with it as well. So you don't back everything on that. But it's very important to be engaged in. It's very important to learn about it. And it's an expanding industry. One thing I learned from the blockchain event, certainly last week, is that these mining farms, which we're certainly getting engaged with, it's not just about mining cryptocurrency. I really started to learn that these mining farms, which are primarily huge dynamic data centers, offer many other services, and maybe there's revenues in the future that we could add to our members from this area as well, regarding advertising, regarding autonomous automobiles. They need to have huge data centers of computer power to be able to track and navigate a car, for example. And it's truly interesting that I think that these mining farms, even though they're relatively new, they will also diversify into many other areas as well, and may be able to add some other revenues in the longer term to our members, other than just the mining as well, which would be a fantastic added bonus if we can do that. But that was probably the biggest thing that I learned from the blockchain event, was that mining is just not for mining cryptocurrencies. Mining is actually used, computer power, the hash power is used for many other services which have been developed, especially artificial intelligence.
Wow. That's sensational news, Bill. If we can all take that in, and maybe I can just clarify to people listening that the short answer is that being involved with Swiss Gold Global, not only now can you have generational wealth through gold and silver by buying that, there's an opportunity now with a gold and silver coin coming up, which will, through the blockchain, will allow those transactions to be faster, more efficient, and more transparent on the blockchain, using that technology for the gold and silver part of the business. Then there's another coin coming up as well to be an ICO that has a potential income earning potential there, not related to gold or silver, but in the ICO and the cryptocurrency space that will expand our business to another level. Then we've got our own mining farms coming up, farm singular at the moment, at the end of the year, as another extension of the business where we have a bit more control with what we're doing with the business growing. So under the umbrella of Swiss Gold Global at the moment, there's many, many opportunities opening up under the one umbrella to not only have business in this part of the gold and silver, your mining, your gold coin, your gold and silver coin, or the cryptocurrency coin that's coming up. So the planning you're doing is slow and methodical, if I could use that terminology, Bill, that you're slowly putting the business together. You're 10 years in business now. You don't rush into anything. A lot of people on the net rush, and go to the next shiny object they see straight away. You obviously got a different format to the way you run your business, and you're a very, very successful 10-year-old business. So pretty exciting things coming up with that, with the two coins, plus the mining, plus the gold and silver, plus whatever comes down the track, as you say, on the back of the mining.
Yeah, I am a bit head in first. I tend to jump in pretty damn quick. It's just a third party. When you're starting to deal with other parties, they take longer than what I'd like, to be quite honest. But I tend to, you could use the word, pull the trigger pretty fast. I have no problem with that. I get right in amongst it pretty quick. But of course, it's a matter of then organising and structuring it in an orderly way, and all the processes and all the different strategic partners required to make this work. And this is where it takes a lot more time than what one would actually like. I mean, I would like to have everything yesterday, of course, as the members would like to have. And I thought maybe we would have been at this point of launching, but we're a few months behind, unfortunately, like many areas. But we're advancing on it, and that's the good thing to know as well. But I think the future is absolutely, I mean, it's getting better. I mean, as the world gets more turmoil, I think our products and services are going to be more attractive for people around the world as we evolve, which is fantastic. I mean, we've had members with us for 10 years who have been diversifying their wealth into the form of gold and silver. Some have liquidated, some have come back and bought in. I mean, that's a beautiful thing about it. You lock yourself into a term deposit, you're locked in for 10 years. And if you wanted to get your money out, or insurance policies or things, or superannuation things in one sense, there's penalties that you can actually pay, But again, with us, we give you the flexibility of liquidity, which I think is really an important thing. And I think when it comes to having that on the blockchain with the token and having a regulated fund, it's going to take the confidence level. It's going to make the story much even stronger for our members to be able to share the message of who we are, what we are. And of course, the stronger the story, the more evidence you have of what you have supporting it, is going to make your lives a lot easier to be able to, of course, share the business and, of course, generate revenues. And that's the whole idea of it, of course, and turn the revenues back into compounding, or maybe getting some free gold and silver, etc. It's always been our mission.
That's what I like about you, Bill. You diversify the business as you go along. As opportunities come up, you've gone into the crypto market. That's been a success. You've got a fantastic partnership with Genesis. You're meeting people at these blockchain events to get not only ideas, but form partnerships there with people who recognise you as a very, very strong 10-year-old business. Can I diversify just for a second? We have a couple of questions that I can throw at you.
Sure.
One was just regarding, Paul mentioned the Genesis. Now, their e-money wallet, are they looking to put a card out, a debit card or somewhere that we can link into? Is that still a couple of months away, do you think, for that particular part of their business with their e-money license that they've got, that they can set their own wallet up and perhaps have a Genesis card on the back of that?
That's our intentions, and I know it's Genesis' intentions as well, but I think also, the environment's changed a lot. The regulatory environment has changed a lot. So that's something they cannot rush. Even though they have their e-money license, they don't want to go out and jeopardize what they've got. They invested millions of pounds to be able to do so. I need to be honest with you, I need to get an update on that. I need to get back to meet with Genesis and sit down and just see where we are on different timelines and different things. But that was certainly, I believe, their direction, and of course we'd like to be able to benefit from that and be able to offer it to our members as well.
Yeah.
But I just know that they're extremely busy on their expansion and different things happening, and of course they've also got to navigate within the regulatory environment. They're global of 2 million members, so navigating on the legalities and on a global basis, it takes a lot of energy, time, and money to do so. So they're not going to jump in or release anything until they know everything's lined up.
Yeah. Now, just on the
not that you ever get everything 100% lined up. I mean, you just at one point you've got to get out there,
Yeah. Now, just on the regulatory part, can you update us if you've heard? Have you actually been served yet from South Carolina? The cease and desist order was another question. I know it's been well over a month. Have you actually been officially received anything from them?
No, we have not. But I have responded to them. In fact, I meant to do it probably a couple of weeks ago, but I was in Dubai. It was a bit more complex to get an affidavit notarized and then apostilled under the Hague Convention to be accepted in a different country like the US. So I had to wait until I was back in Zurich last week, and then I had to go to a notary. I did the affidavit was processed, the legal affidavit was processed. Then I went and had it notarized, and I had to go to another place and get it apostilled. But that has now been sent to the Attorney General's office in South Carolina, and primarily stating that, hey, we've taken the respectful obligation of barring our IP addresses in the state of South Carolina to prevent any cases anyone cause of damage or this etc. The affidavit questioned their legality to be able to say what they wanted to do, but also told them that we have not been served under due process. It's quite a lengthy affidavit with many points. It's going to be very interesting to their response to that. We're not here to get into a boxing match with the Attorney General. It'd be like wrestling an elephant. They would certainly win. Okay, certainly on the financial side, because they're using other people's money, as authorities tend to do. But we certainly have responded. But to this date, we have not been officially served at all. I know Genesis Mining have, and I know Genesis Mining have responded to them respectfully. I don't know what the outcome of that is, but we have responded to them by affidavit last week. They'll probably receive it today or tomorrow, I suppose, and then we'll see what comes from that. Yeah.
Okay, Bill. Now, just you mentioned Genesis Mining there. As I mentioned at the start, while you're on your call to your favourite bankers, I've been receiving daily payouts of over 005, which because of the contracts I have every day, regardless from Genesis, but they haven't been reported in my back office for about 7 days now. And Ethereum just hit and miss a little bit. I know they're under the pump with, it's a two-pronged question. Is there any feedback from them about they're getting on top of the reporting issue where they've got 2 million members, of which we're all part of? And the second thing is, when's their next mining farm to open? Where's the next location? They've just opened the Swedish one, which is, you told me a couple of weeks ago, was not Bitcoin, but Ethereum, Litecoin, Dashcoin, Zcash, all the other coins. So two-prong, the reporting issue, they got on track with that to resolve it. And when's their next farm? Where's the next location? You got any idea, Bill?
On the first part regarding the reporting issue, yeah, this is truly annoying. I mean, before our call, I was chatting to them also, to our engineers, and I just on Slack, which is a communication process a lot of engineers use. I've been chatting to our engineer, and also chatting to their engineer. Primarily, what's happened is they're upgrading their systems in Genesis, which is fantastic. They're doing that because they've had explosive growth. They need to do that, of course. And of course, our servers need to communicate with their servers, but because they upgraded their servers and the communication data in one sense, the indexing, I'm not an engineer, but in logical terms, the indexing on a complex process was changed on their side, which means when they send the reports on a daily basis to us, our system doesn't recognize it. So we have to rebuild, or we have to make things compatible so the systems and servers can speak and communicate with each other. So that's the problem. So we know that people have been paid into their blockchain wallets, but in their back office, it doesn't actually show that. And we know some people have also missed some payouts. So this has to be reconciled. As I always say, it has not affected the mining, has not affected the payout reward, but certainly has affected the way it's pushed to you, because there's many variables in this particular process. So they're working on it, because one thing I don't like is things not working. And one thing I don't like is thousands of tickets coming into our support team, creating stress for our team and creating stress for our members. So I can assure you we are onto it, and it's very important that this is corrected, because, you know, it's people lose trust. If they don't see they're getting paid, they bought a product or a service, they see they don't get paid, they can lose they lose a bit of trust in us. So we take this exceptionally seriously, and so does Genesis Mining as well. But with that said, I won't use the four-letter word, but, you know, stuff happens, you know. Stuff does go wrong, and especially in technological terms, that any slight change at all can totally screw up the whole process, you know. So they're in the process of fixing all this as we speak, and sooner the better, I can assure you. Yeah. It'd make everyone's lives. On the second question regarding mining of Genesis Mining, respectfully, I don't know that. They don't, they like to keep their mining farms pretty secretive in one sense. However, when I am with them, they're very courteous, they're very respectful, and they'll give me updates regarding it. But I've not been with them now. Had meetings, I've been traveling other parts, but they're expanding continuously. And I know they're also moving into AI, artificial intelligence, and different things. So where the next farm will be, I'm not too sure, but I know they're being developed right now in different parts of the world. I mean, and of course, they need to be diversified, because regulatory changes occur in different parts of the world. So you need to have, if you look at the global map, you need to have, you need to have energy, you need to have these resources placed strategically to make sure that you cover yourself, because, things can change very, very quick.
Yeah. Now, just on mining farms, can you give us a rough idea of our own joint venture with Genesis, when our mining farm will be looking like going live, any sort of within the next 9 months, 8 months, something like that? Are you thinking this year, way at the end of this year?
We would like to have it by the end of this year. We haven't turned soil yet, we haven't made ground yet in that sense, but the biggest thing is getting sustainable energy supply, because it's these large mining farms consume energy of small cities, small towns, I should say, in one respect. So what type of energy it is really important to us. We believe in sustainability as well. So we want to make sure that primarily the source of energy we're actually using for the mining farm is pretty much clean energy. If we can pull that off, hydro or something like that, or even in much of Europe, of course, you see a lot of places where they actually burn rubbish and convert it back into electricity. But of course, these plants today in Europe, with the filter systems they have, there's nothing that goes into the atmosphere. It's pretty much the same as a natural gas burn in that respect, which is quite great. So, to answer your question, we have a lot to do there, but by the end of this year would be nice.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's awesome. 2018 is building to be a fantastic year for us, and people are getting excited. And I've got a question from Sean in London. We're going to see the executive miner package come back. Now, that's the $3,000 package. I know if members want to go down the affiliate path, everyone can be a free customer. And I think you said many weeks ago about 80% of us are people just join as free customers to Swiss Gold Global. The miner package is the 170 to start. The executive miners are 3,000. That's blocked out at the moment. Is that coming back, Bill? Is that depending on availability of packages, I suppose, of mining packages?
Well, we actually have the platinum package back up. So let me touch on that. I mean, the executive miner package is of course $3,000. You have the executive miner package is $3,000, is just purely hash power. Then you have the ambassador package, which is $3,000, which is it's a blend between precious metal and of course hash power. We could put that package back up now, I believe. Although if people join, if they're going to spend $3,000, buy the $3,000 with your hash power. If you want a bit of extra gold and silver, log into your back office and buy it as a single purchase. That's not a bad way of doing it either. Just add it as you need it in one respect. But we could add the other package. I don't see any reason why we couldn't. I wanted to have less packages to make it simple for people, but the Platinum package is back up, which has the 15 terahash mining package available for our members. Even and customers now can purchase. It's been increased from 1 terahash to 5 terahash Bitcoin, and they can actually purchase now as well, which is also great news.
So there are still unbelievable. We've still got contracts floating around available for purchase. Genesis Mining still don't have any. I'm just trying to log into my back office to go into that.
When I say they don't have any, they have resources there, but they're probably choosing just to service their current clients right now. If they opened up the trapdoor of 2 million members, we probably wouldn't have any today. So, it's about managing the resources, and they're quite content with the trust relationship that we have, that we're able to, to be able to sell some of the Bitcoin terahash mining on their behalf, which is fantastic, which is manageable.
Yeah, that's. I just went in before, and I can still purchase as an affiliate up to 5 terahash. Now I'm just going through the packages. Miner packages.
Oh, that should be changed. Sorry about that. That should be showing 15 terahash. You're telling me it's still showing 5 terahash.
Yeah, I'll just I'll give you a live update, Bill. I'll just go through the packages. Miner package 170 is available. Executive, as Sean said, that's not available. Silver 249 is available. 797 gold's available. Ambassador 3000 is available. The Platinum 5000 is not available. It's not showing as available, the Platinum one. And then if I go to my crypto, which is my favorite tab in my back office, my crypto. If I go to buy hash power, now I'm an affiliate. The first page is the what you've got actually in contract, and then Bitcoin comes up, which is awesome. And if I go to next, and 1 terahash, $35.80, that's still the price, and it'll slide all the way to 5 terahash for me as an affiliate. To that's as much as $845 US dollars. If I want to buy 5 per transaction. So that's what I'm showing anyway, Bill, at the moment.
Okay, well, just while you've been speaking, I've just been typing to the engineers to tell them to get it live. So that instruction's gone out, okay?
Okay, there we go.
I thought
Live on a Hangout. We're changing the back office live on a Hangout. Absolutely fantastic. We'll finish
off.
Well,
this is why feedback is really important from our members. I mean, you guys are pretty much the canaries in the gold mine. If something's working, it's great. If it's not working, that's where we get the news from as well. So this is why it's really important we have that transparency in communication, so we can get the feedback from you.
Yeah, that's all right. So Karen's saying ambassador is showing here. Now you're in the UK, Karen. So the ambassador or the.
No,
maybe I have to log out and log back in, perhaps.
Let me go there right now, because I know the executive miner package should be up, and of course we should have the. Let me just go there quickly now. Let's cut to the trace on this. Okay, we have the free account. We have the. Okay, out of stock is the they've done this. Okay, the executive miner is out of stock, but we have the miner pack $170. We have the 249, the silver one. We have the 797, the gold package, annual package. We have the ambassador package that is showing, and we actually have the platinum package, which is actually showing. So Karen's absolutely right. We have the ambassador. We have the platinum package available as well. So they're live on my side. They should be live your side too, Paul.
No, on my side, mate, the platinum's still showing shaded. So I don't know what that is. Might have to get rid of my cookies. I've got the miner, the 249, 797, 3000. The platinum's blocked out. So that's all right. I'll have to refresh or whatever. We've got one more question, which is quite relevant actually to a lot of chat or speak that we hear from people. Another company, Bitcoin Network, says that in a video that Genesis Mining buy all the hash power from them. So there's all these companies that claim that they supply Genesis Mining with their hash power for their contracts. No, you speak to Genesis.
I know the video. I know the video, and I've actually, Genesis are aware of the video. I think there's a lot of BS out there, and I think there's probably going to be a few lawsuits flying out around as well. Listen, what you see on social media, how much of its truth is probably less than 50%. Okay, and the people behind, you know, if I look at the eyes of these people and I look at sitting in front of the Genesis team, executive team, I know who I want to do business with. Okay, I know who I trust, and it's certainly the Genesis team. They're just good, transparent guys, highly educated, very, very smart, good long-term vision. And it's more than just these guys have enough money anyway. It's more than just the money. They're building a global enterprise with and moving into different ventures as well. I mean, they're the ones that have the e-money license. They're the ones that put up the £2 million and a couple of years of legal fees to actually initiate this. I have not seen anyone else in the market space actually do that. So I know there's a lot of claims. That particular person on that video, I don't need to comment on it. It doesn't worry me. I mean, there's a lot of noise out there, and they're not the people I'm ever going to do business with. I have all these people contacting me, wanting to back their products and services with gold and this and that and silver from different things. I just won't do it. I'm very selective who we partner with, and we have people knocking our doors on a daily basis, pretty much.
Yeah, well, that's
especially companies that have nothing, especially with companies that sell air. And they want to attach something to it to give it value.
Yeah.
You know, this has been going on for years.
You've probably hit the nail on the head for what our members are watching now. And we've got lots of people watching now. And I'd urge you, if you're watching, to grab the link and put it on your timeline so all your team or people who are interested in cryptocurrency mining, gold and silver, new ICO coins, that they get the information directly from the owner of the company. There's a few people that have commented over time that they don't have time to spend 40 minutes watching a video. The whole idea of these videos every Monday for myself and Paul and Swiss Gold Global Australia is to get you on, Bill, and hear from the horse's mouth of the person who runs this business and exactly what's going on. And that comment there for Wealthy Forever Marketing about BitClub Network is fantastic, getting that feedback from you directly to the members saying, listen, we don't deal with these type of people. 50% of what you hear on social media is rubbish. We deal with Genesis Mining. We are the strong connection with them. We have a partnership. We're building our own mining farm. We've got ICOs coming out. This is what's happening inside Swiss Gold Global. This is the truth, and this is exactly what you need to focus on. And the word being focus, that's Claudia's favorite word, focus, from last week when I chatted online with her. And the live content that you put out, Bill, as well. And if I just go to the homepage on Swiss Gold Global, you're doing one. You do every Tuesday and Saturday night. Now it's coming on. It'll be 6 a.m. for me on Wednesday morning, which is Anzac Day here in Australia. And then you're doing one. Must be Thursday. There's another one. Carlotta's doing one on Thursday, which is Friday here. But you normally do
the Thursday ones with Carolina Oliveira. She's going to be actually having she's the international lawyer, the attorney. She's on Money Matters. This I think her last one, she spoke about people doing testaments, wills, etc.
Yeah.
And she went through that, the importance of doing it. I think this week's one, she's going to be focusing on diversifying, you know, in markets at the moment, shifting from equities to maybe back to cash and to other safe assets during these economic climate that we're currently in. So it's going to be truly interesting what she has to say regarding that, because she's one hell of a smart lady. Coming back to the thing about BitClub Network, I'm not blowing out anyone's candle here. I'm just saying I just focus on my strategic partner. I know who I'm dealing with. I can look them in the eye, and they've honoured us and they've supported us exceptionally well. Every member that's ever been associated with us, we're not perfect. They're not perfect. There's been technical issues. We know that people have always been paid out, and that's the most important. That's the sort of people who I like to actually work with. People who get on social media and blah 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 and make noise and brag this or brag that. Genesis Mining, you won't see that. They're not that type of dudes. They won't get up and just make the noise for sake of doing it. They're pretty serious, not pretty, they're very serious group running $1 billion company. They want to do their best. I mean, they're running a major corporation here. I mean, and with huge responsibility to millions of members around the world. So, yeah. Anyway, I mean, yeah, it's all good. I'm very happy where we are with the company.
Yeah. No, well, that's the message that we want to get through to our members, that Bill Rowell, the owner, he tells it how it is. He explains right down to the minute details of how the business is traveling, who we're associated with, what the plans are, what the exciting developments are. So you can hear it from the horse's mouth, and you can take that to your members, not only on when we get you on here on Swiss Gold Global Australia, but you also do it twice a week yourself with a presentation. I've never, ever met an online business owner putting out so much information live from the horse's mouth to tell members and show members exactly what is going on. And that's what, when you do the webinar in your back office, just go and click on go to the event, type in your first name, last name, your email address, you'll get a notification. And if you can't make it, then you can catch up and see the replay because you've registered. That's what Claudia told me the other week. By actually registering through the email you get, by generating there, you can actually go and catch up with the replay, which is fantastic. So we've always got time, whether we're in the shower, we've got the phone in the background with the video playing, or when we're on the bus or in a car when we're driven somewhere, or sitting on a park bench for 15 minutes to catch up with what's going on inside our online business. Because at the end of the day, why are we here? And that's what always come back to this question you keep asking people: why are you here? What is the motivation? What are you actually here for? To build generational wealth. So you're not working 9 to 5 for somebody else. You're taking care of your own family and your friends and your colleagues that you want to take care of when you're in a position to do that, because you've built your own online business. And what Bill's showing us now is that we can expand into different areas: gold and silver, cryptocurrencies, ICOs. There are different things coming up in 2018 which are going to help all of the members, which is fantastic. Now, Paul, just want to finish off because we're coming up to the hour, Bill, and I'll leave the last word to you. Is there anything you want to add, Paul, or anything you want to throw into the mix? Maybe a question for Bill or some comment you've been thinking about, mate? Go ahead.
Oh, we were talking about longevity before. Just an interesting fact today that the oldest man in Japan died today. He was 117. So we've got a few years to go yet, so for longevity. So that's about all I got to say.
117. Well, you're a little bit closer to 117 than I am, Paul. Bill and I are the same age. You 60 this year, Bill? Is that right? You're turning 60 this year?
Oh, sorry, Keith, you must have this completely wrong, mate. I mean, I think it's 50 I turned this year. You got to get these numbers right.
Yeah, I think you haven't had your morning coffee, mate. That's what I think.
In fact, I was listening to, many of you have heard of Jack Ma, of course, the Alibaba founder. I was watching a short video of him last night, and he was talking about different things and giving a bit of wisdom. And he said different age groups, what you need to be able to do. I think he said, you know, in your 20s, you go and work for someone, follow it, find out who your good boss is and learn from them. In your 30s, you're going to do something else. But we said when you're getting closer up to 60, what you need to do is employ young people, smart young people, invest in them, which is very, very, very true. And I really experienced this at the blockchain event. When I went in there, even the after parties I went to, one was the Russian Chamber of Commerce blockchain event. And I mean, a lot of cool, very, very smart, sharp people. One guy in his mid-20s, he'd invested into 29 ICOs, very, very successful. He's a physicist, highly educated. I mean, I was just way out of my league talking to some of these guys, but they're actually very interesting to listen to them. And then afterwards, we're at the Yacht Club in Dubai for the blockchain event, for the sponsors event. You know, and you've got people there, you got the, you know, the sheiks dressed in the sheik gear, of course, and people in business suits. And then, of course, you can see probably the techies, the young wealthy from cryptocurrencies in the swimming pool, drinking their champagne and stuff, partying, having a good time. So it's such a such a mixed environment when you're speaking about cryptocurrency and mining. You've only got to look at, of course, our group here. On this particular call, we have, you know, from Bitcoin Granny in the UK, who, that many of you are familiar with. I think, you know, she does a fantastic job. And we have, of course, people in their late teens involved with us also mining. But Paul was talking about the Commonwealth Games, about gold medals, etc. Well, the difference between us and the gold medal, Paul, is that, you know, if you look at the gold medals these athletes get, there's less than 6% gold in the medal, which I think cheats them, because these athletes, no one trains harder than an athlete. You get at a particular level, and you know it, of course, Keithy. And I used to sponsor a triathlon guy many years ago, a world champion triathlon. He used to be an long-term, long-distance swimmer. And these guys train, and women, of course, endlessly for years after years for that moment on the track of winning. And then they give them something that has less, they call it a gold medal, and has less than 6%. So when you get the gold from us guys, just know that it's 99.9 pure. It's 100% gold, 24 karat. It's the real deal, okay?
That's great. That's a good dinner table question. That, what's the percentage of gold in the gold medal from the Olympics or the Commonwealth Games? 6% is the answer there, folks.
Actually, it's probably less than that today, maybe. But I know the Olympic gold medals was around 6% or less. But
all right.
let's see how good the Commonwealth Games are, whether they put some more gold in there.
Yes, that's unbelievable. It's all smoke and mirrors for a lot of the world at the moment. But we know you're the real deal. And in fact, Bill, and we know the partnership we've got with Swiss Gold Global and the things coming up make this a really, really awesome 2018. We're already into the 23rd of April now, so that's 4 months gone. Another week that's gone, the month, and then we're into May. That's the 5th month. So there's only 7 months left in 2018. It is racing past, so it is lots and lots of things to do. Just remember, folks, talk to everybody you can about part-time passive income. 4 words. Now, we've got gold and silver. We've got mining contracts. We'll have 2 ICOs coming out. We've got our own mining farm coming at the end of the year. There's so many things happening with Swiss Gold Global. It is time to reignite your enthusiasm about the business. You've got the owner telling you exactly how it is, what's exactly happening, so you can have confidence when you speak to people about Swiss Gold Global that we are the real deal. And what, as Bill said, very, very important point, 50% of what you hear on social media is absolute rubbish. So, and then to cap it all off, the banks in the institution in Australia have been pulled up for charging people for services that are not actually happening. So it's happening all around us, folks. You're in a good space with Swiss Gold Global and the owner, Bill Rowell. So, Paul, thank you very much for coming on again today from the Gold Coast, mate. We'll see you next week. Good that your internet's up and running super, super fast, mate. Thank you very much, Paul. And Bill, it's always a great pleasure to have you on as well. Good luck back in Dubai next week. We may have an opportunity to catch up with you. If not, we'll try and catch you in the next week or so, Bill.
Thanks very much, Keithy. In fact, next week I'll be around. I'm still in Europe. But the week after that, I'll be heading back to Dubai. So I will be available if you need to connect up. And great to see you again, Paul. Take care. And thanks everyone joining us from different parts of the world.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, mate. A lot can happen in 7 days in cryptocurrency. A lot of exciting things. So that's it, folks. Number 35, webinar 35, over and done with. Spread the word. Share this link to everybody that you know and tell people just to watch the owner and learn as we earn. Good on you, folks. We'll see you on the next one. Take it easy and bye.